Hello and welcome to a Smurd P video, and today we're looking at X-Men issue 8, Raid on Graymalkin, issue 1 of 4. I've already sort of given my thoughts on this, but now it's time to actually see the story. Maybe I'll have a different view. So our story opens up with Beast captured, and we learn that this is because President Lopez from Terra Verde wants to have Beast on trial, show trial, committed, and, well, basically executed. That's what's going to happen here because of what he other Beasts did, Beasts that run X-Force in Krakoa, whereas obviously this is a different Beast. That is the difference here. And we learn that Terra Verde is in bed with Roxxon Energy and is paying a substantial amount to help the Graymalkin's operating budget, which is probably quite expensive. So there we go. So this is written by Jed MacKay, penciler Ryan Stegman, inkers J.P. Mayer, Livesay, and Ryan Stegman, and Marty Gracia on the colors. So Cyclops is absolutely let's say peed off. Quentin finds out what sort of happened and basically says, we're going to break it. We're going to break Graymalkin. We're going to do that. And basically, this is the first time we sort of see some real sort of thought around Beast's transition, because when Psylocke tries to calm down, saying, you're angry, you're going to make a mistake, but he says, Hank McCoy was like my brother. We grew up together. And then he became a monster. This is the first time any of the other X-Men have sort of talked about it, how Beast went off the rails. And he says, now my brother's back and I'm not going to lose him again. So we get Hank and Jubilation Lee catching up. Also, Jubilee Lee saying to Calico that we need to eat to keep our sort of strength up. It's crap, it's rubbish. We need to eat it, basically. We also learned that this Beast has not met Jubilation Lee. He's aware of her and knows of her, but he's never actually met her. So this tells us that the time is before Jim Lee's X-Men in the early 90s. And that sort of makes sense, because we've got to remember, reason the Beast perhaps eventually became who he did, he had to deal with the legacy virus, then the decimation of mutants, and then and all these things probably bringing the original X-Men back, all these things probably led to that dark Hank McCoy. We've also got to remember that there was back in Uncanny X-Men, or I think it was Uncanny X-Men, like 600 or New X-Men, where is it Tempo said to him, there's going to be a trial, but which one? So is this alluding to that trial? And of course, this Beast would know nothing about that. So, and there's also a little joke that there is one X-Men from Alaska and 2 from Louisiana, and then Jubilation said, well, that's half of one, which is very, very cool. So, our very own governor has come here to tell the young lady that her family actually do live, and if she says she's not a mutant, she will be given back to them, and they're going to give me a lot of money, and we're going to perhaps call a wing after her. And then she starts here and she says, what are you doing? She says, I'm a mutant. My name's Calico of Louisiana's X-Men, and I'm eating mutant food. It's just absolutely brilliant. So she goes to teach her a lesson, which Hank McCoy steps in and says, you're not going to do. He gets a slap. And then he says, pretty much, we all look alike and stuff like that, which is a pretty much a racism forum in society, that you all think we look alike, so I could be that person that's done that over there, etc. So decent. He gets bashed up, and then she really makes an example of him by saying, you know, I could sell you for less and as damaged goods. You know, it's no bother to me. But she is willing to put on the show. There is then the break-in. The X-Men are going in. Cyclops agrees that nobody's going to get killed, and I love this bit between Magic and Cyclops. They've had a long-standing relationship in the X universe for a very long time, and she sort of wants to make bodies, but he says they're coming for us. Us racking up the body count isn't only going to make it harder for us to justify what we're doing. And she says, "You're never fun." He goes, "I was never fun." Oh, no, sorry. She says, "You used to be fun." He said, "I was never fun." Which is quite, I thought was quite funny. So they have limbo monsters creating a sort of distraction. And the governor, even though she has a break-in, she says, "Did I tell you to stop beating that mutant?" So she wants this sorted quickly. The X-Men are in. Juggernaut is ready for a home run, and Quinton is maintaining psychics clearly up in the Marauder somewhere. The X-Men have gone in, but they have taken suits that are providing a sort of distraction with the sensors, so they're unable to communicate with others, such as the trustee, etc., or coordinate the attack. So they're lighting them up. And we get a nice little entourage of a fight, which is pretty decent. And then they start meeting those that are being tortured, like the Blob, etc. And nobody can move the Blob. However, you can imagine what that hand is doing down there. That's right. It's Rogue. You all finally decide to quit dragging your feet and come out dancing. And then right away you go stepping on our toes. I think them trying to make it look like a schism was a mislead. I don't think there's enough of this to be... They're separate factions of the X-Men doing separate things on the X-Men, but this is clearly, obviously, going to be just a misunderstanding. Let's be honest. However, we will see how this plays out. They've already trashed half of Graymalkin. I'm wondering how this can go on for another 3 issues. So it will be very, very interesting to see how that goes on. So we will find out over the next few weeks. Other than that, I really enjoyed that. It was a lot of fun. There was certainly enough development on characters and story, as well as enough action, which I don't know whether we can call this an event story right now. I mean, it is a mini crossover, but it's fast-paced. If you remember those Krakoan crossovers, which at some point I'll probably read back and say, actually, this is pretty decent. They were really long and drawn out over a period of time, whereas they could have done a bit more in a slow build, then it happened, if that makes sense. Whereas this is straight in. We had the end of 2 issues where we knew that the 3 mutants had been captured, and this was pretty much straight into it now. Very fast paced. So I'm looking forward to seeing how the next few issues go. So anyway, I hope you like my video. If you do, please do support my channel by subscribing. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Really appreciate it. Make sure you look after yourself. Very important these days. Thank you to everybody that subscribed, and embrace the geekiness. Take care. Goodbye.